Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to day two of the 15th annual BRICS Summit 2023, right here from the Sandton Convention Center in Johannesburg. Hilaal TV is here live to broadcast all the happenings at BRICS, all the pertinent information, and more importantly, we get to know what BRICS can provide for South Africa, and for the world at large. My name's Luqmaan, Shadrach, and with me, my colleague Fahraaz Patel will be joining me as we unpack BRICS 2023. Fahraaz, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Luqmaan, day two, here we are. Of course, what a day we had yesterday, obviously with the BRICS Business Forum, and just so much was talked about in terms of economics and finances and a way going forward in terms of shaping the global south economy. So I'm really looking forward to hear what's going to happen today. Of course, when we talk about bilateral ties, political talks are going to happen. And of course, in a bit, we're going to be seeing the photo opportunity with many of the heads of state, and then there's going to be discussions, opening remarks that are going to be happening. So interesting to see what's going to happen with regards to that. Of course, yesterday was all about the money. Today it's all about political talk. So I'm looking forward to hear what's going to happen. Remember, this is the first time, of course, we have an actual physical summit since the Russia-Ukraine war. And South Africa has made it quite clear that they are neutral in all of this. They have a non-alignment stance. Now, what I must bring to your attention is during a couple of months ago, there was a UN assembly that happened. And during that, of course, South Africa had abstained from voting against Russia. India and China voted against their BRICS partner. So interesting to see what's going to happen with regards to that, because I think when it comes to these bilateral ties, you need to be very careful on how you do things. Trade doesn't seem to be as complicating as the political talk. So yesterday, of course, the five leaders went into a retreat. What was discussed, we are hoping to hear later on, but a lot of it is going to center, of course, around how these nations treat the Russia-Ukraine war.
Political volatility always has a massive impact in any coalition or collaboration or even partnership going forward. The various heads of states were very distinct in what they would like to see the outcome of BRICS 2023 summit to have, not only for South Africa and the African continent, but more importantly, what they can bring to the collaboration as well. And I think that's very commendable. Going forward, we'll see how that unfolds, the timeline. You also had a chat to the Minister for Small Business Development. What were some of her points around BRICS 2023?
Well, Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams was quite emphatic about making sure that that sector of the economy really gets pushed. And we heard yesterday President Cyril Ramaphosa mentioned two key aspects. The key aspect of how we're going to go ahead and make sure that the small and medium business enterprises are working well, are working effectively, and there's a boost right over there to make sure that they have effective financial support. Yesterday, President Ramaphosa mentioned that there has to be more women. There needs to be a boost for women businesses. And we heard that again from Minister Ndabeni-Abrahams that female representation within that sector has to continue to grow. Of course, there has to be female representation in terms of big enterprises, the roles of CEOs or chairmen or chairwomen. So there has to be that balance and equitability with regards to that. And if we're not going to see that, then we're still going to be living in a very polarized world, in a very unequal world. So hopefully that will be able to change the perception of so many things.
As we see live footage of the Indian Prime Minister walking in to BRICS 2023, all ready for day two. We know that Vladimir Putin had a video call that was sent. Will probably be the same today as well. We do know that the heads of state had a meeting last night, and inshallah a bit later we'll try and unpack that to know some of the important points that were discussed. It's going to impact us, all of us in South Africa, all of us in Africa.
We hope positively though, Luqmaan. We have to think positively because you know what, again, we keep on mentioning that figure of 0.3% GDP growth. Now, we keep harping on it because both you and I, as South Africans, want to see it increase. I mean, the IMF last week said we could be growing by 3% if we can sort out rail and if we can sort out our energy crisis. Now, hopefully, this summit allows there to be a case where, come next year, this time when we're talking, whichever time it is, whether it be at SONA, whether it be at the budget speech, whether it be at, elections, there will be a bigger growth. We'll be going into a much stronger growth with regards to that. So hopefully this allows it to happen, Luqmaan, and the green energy. I mean, there was so much of talk with regards to that. We're heading into that. And COP 2030, there has to be a finalization with regards to how we're going in terms of renewable energies and sustainable energy.
I think that was the buzzword yesterday. Every single head of state spoke about how they can contribute and what they're also doing in their home countries, how they've reduced greenhouse emissions, how they've, Brazil especially leading the way. And they're very proud to say that they are leading the way because it's impacted how they do business in their own country and how they are living towards, wanting to live a better life. You made a comment about the rainforest and how important it is that they, uphold that heritage and that symbolism of living a, that earthy life and coming back to the way Brazil used to do, business many years ago. Very important, though. We're so honored to be amongst the world media.
Yes, definitely.
We've had a contingent from Russia, I think close to 70 strong that's here. So massive in attendance here as well. And various parts of the world. We've met Chinese, journalists. We've met people from Saudi Arabia, and we're hoping that some of the Saudi Arabian heads of state are wanting to come through and be part of BRICS as well.
I mean, that would be quite interesting. I mean, if Saudi Arabia has to join, then, it brings a different dynamic in terms of economic powers and also resources, because we do know they remain, the world's biggest output of oil production. So, I mean, they come in, it changes the whole landscape. You've got two countries who really are quite strong in terms of oil production, Russia being the other. Of course, they're having sanctions due to what is happening in Ukraine. And then, of course, you've got Saudi Arabia, who right now, there is no restrictions in terms of that, but they control how oil and the output of oil is actually going to head and be distributed. Yeah. Something else I want to bring to your attention, Luqmaan, the Niger crisis that's currently happening. Right now, the Mohamed Bazoum, the leader, the democratically elected leader, because I want to stress a lot on democracy, because democracy, as South Africans, we appreciate democracy, we appreciate our constitution. Right now, he's been, of course, deposed by the military government. There's an interest there because South Africa, being part of the African Union, has mentioned quite strictly that there needs to be a solution to this, and Mohamed Bazoum must be reinstated. ECOWAS, as we are speaking right now, which is the West African bloc of leaders, there is, of course, that military intervention that is currently happening at the moment. The AU wants peace. There's, of course, a Russian contingent there in terms of the support for the military leader. How do they balance that? How do they make sure that, listen, democracy is being practiced, but also at the same time, you need to tread the fine line with Russia's involvement in Niger? It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because with that in mind, we need to make sure that Africa is looked after before we go ahead and look beyond our own continent.
Okay, interesting times ahead, lies ahead for all of us. Interesting enough that there is talk about other countries wanting to join. Also, there could be some opposition from the current BRICS partners from wanting other countries to join as well. So mixed emotions coming through. We'll know more today. Inshallah, we'll speak to some of the foreign press that's here and get their input. But exciting day two. We're looking forward to it. We are going to cover as much as possible on Hilaal TV. And obviously our awesome team here as well, behind the scenes, working tirelessly to ensure that this broadcast happens.
Jazakallah so much, Luqmaan, and that's how we wrap it up here. Do stay tuned to Hilaal TV as we continue to bring you broadcasts throughout the day here for the 15th Annual BRICS Summit happening at the Sandton Convention Center. For myself, Fahraaz, Patel, my colleague Luqmaan, Shadrach, do stay tuned as we will bring you more from this historic event.